Okay, so first and foremost, my light is red right here, but you're going to see it turn blue at some point. But what I wanted to talk about is just like, I guess how my plan, I guess how my plan is to pretty much get laid this year because I really didn't get laid last year. Well, the only time I did anything was with a dude, and they were kind of like masculine looking. I believe that'll be the first and last time that I deal with a dude who looks that masculine. But they did look nice on the app that I was using, so on Grinder. So anyway, there was so let's start off like the day's affairs. Um, I'm first and foremost gonna say like there was one there was one Venezuelan woman because a few weeks ago I already knew she was Venezuelan because she had like the very fair skin, and her her like ass was massive. Like a lot of Venezuelan women for some reason, their booty is not big. It's bigger than big. It's gigantic. Es gigante, as they would say in Espanol. But yeah, there was I immediately walked in and asked her how she's doing, and I asked her how her family is. Yeah. So, and then I went ahead and I was getting lunch, and then I was about to leave, and then I saw another woman who I assumed was Mexican. Then I asked her, and she said Venezuelan. And then I was going to say, usually I can. I told her that, oh, I knew the other one was Venezuelan, and then I said, usually I can tell because of the face, or and then she was like, es porque no tengo tremenda body. So she's saying because she doesn't have like a tremendous body or something like that. She has ass, but it's not gigantic. It's big, but not gigantic. And I said, sí, pero. And then she started laughing at me. I was like, yes, however. Um, but yeah, I went ahead and asked her how her family was too. And then she was like, the first one said she has a little bit of family in Venezuela because I asked if she has any there. And then the second one, she was like, they're doing okay. And then I was like, they're doing okay? And then she put air quotes. She was like, they're doing okay. And then I said, es peligroso, no? Like, it's dangerous, no? And then, yeah, this was, and you know what's interesting? That first woman was the one last week. She told me that she wants to learn more about me, like how I'm so skinny, but like, yeah, but how I maintain, like, how I eat so much but maintain like a slim figure. And then when I was what's it called? And then when I was walking into my station to chop vegetables, and that first woman with the BBO looking booty, she was like, "Hey," and for no other reason than simply to get my attention. And then I was talking to this one Asian girl all day, like, well, toward the end of the shift. Toward the end of the shift. What the hell is that sound? I was talking to this one Asian girl all day about like anime, like what I want to do for the future and stuff like that. It was like we talked about like a million different things, and she. One thing I noticed is that she was so good at reciprocating questions, even better than most women. Like just, and while I was chopping vegetables, before I even spoke to her, I was telling myself, hey, there's a lot of beautiful women out there if you ask me, but there's not a lot of women that are very good at communicating. So yeah, and also, I do want to mention there was one. So there's one white woman who's like one of the higher ranking members of the organization that I volunteer at. I was just there several hours ago today. Yeah, and she was walking around taking videos. Like some of the office ladies that are higher ranking, they're going to be walking around taking videos. And one thing I should have mentioned that I first noticed when I came here is that this woman is built exactly like a black woman, including the fact that she has curly hair. Like she has light brown hair or blonde hair, or maybe it's mixed in really well, but basically blonde, very curly hair. It's like shoulder length, and um, she has like these super tight jeans. They flare out at the bottom like the jeans that a mom would wear to an office job, to a business casual. but like the jeans are super tight at the top. Like when she was walking away, I could across the entire room. I was inside the kitchen. She was all the way in another area. I could look and clearly see under. I could clearly see what was what was under what was underneath, like one of those types of jeans. I like they were super tight to the point where you could see an outline of where the underwear stops and the booty starts. Like you would see that. And she had on this sweater that was coming down like halfway, but like her ass was this white woman's ass was so big that even with the sweater on, like the ass was still like poking out, and like with those type of pants, bro. And the funny thing is, I don't. The thing about women in very high positions is you're kind of afraid to even make any type of jokes or something, because like one wrong move, one false move, and you'll be freaking banned from there forever. So yeah, if you just saw an outline of that woman, like an all black silhouette, including the curly hair. I don't know how good you guys can hear me, but if you saw just like a black silhouette of her entire body from top to bottom, you would think that it was a woman named Shaniqua or something, or Boquisha. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. I could go over all of the things me and the Asian girl talked about. We talked about her being a bad Asian driver. She was asking me what type of anime I like, and I was asking, like it would be dead silence for a little bit, and then she would be like, well, what's your favorite anime? Like she would actively try and ask me questions. And then I was like, oh, you have the Asian girl type of aesthetic in your room. Because I was like, you have stuffed animals in your room. And it was just a million different things in our conversation today. And yeah, super, super cool. Like man, very awesome stuff. I might put something out like later on, but yeah, yeah, I've got like, man, it's a lot of good stuff I'm running into. And the thing I want to say is that I can't really sit here and act like I don't deserve it, because like I did everything I could to get where I am now. So I would say like anything good that happens to me, anything good that happens to me is like fully deserved. It's like 100% deserved. So I don't need to like be like, why is this person treating me this way? Like why is this person doing all this stuff for me and like catering to me? Because I'm somebody who decided to sort of take a hands-off approach and just be like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and stop contacting my family, and I'm gonna wait for them to contact me, because um that's that's just it. Like I'm the person who's going through homelessness, and yeah, I'm not like I was talking to someone who was like suggesting that I reach out to this person, and then I responded. I was like, anybody who wants to talk to me, they can text me first. So yeah, I wish I could tell you guys everything we talked about. Actually, I need to get out of that habit. But yeah, I got this little mask thing, if I can find it. I don't even know where it is. I honestly, it's right here. This has got to be it right here. It's stuck on the zipper, but you'll see it when you see it. Okay, so there's this mask thing that covers the entire bottom of my face, and so I got some hand warmers when I was talking to her, and then I got this little mask thing right here, and I got a black one, and I put it on. I slipped it all the way on with just covering my nose, and then she looked up a Naruto character, because she told me she never really watched the big anime, but she told me she pulled up a picture of Kakashi and said, "You look just like him. All you need is one headband to cover your eye." Because I put my thing on and did like the jutsu hand sign with both of my hands. So yeah, that was a really fun conversation. And then I was like, "Did you just type in Naruto character mask?" And then she said yes, because that's what I guessed. So and then we talked. She was asking me what characters I main on Smash and stuff like that. And she was like, here's an example of how good she was at following up. How good she was at following up. I would say she asked me what my favorite anime was, and I said I don't know because I feel like I'll tell you right now, and then I'll come up with something else later on. So, what she said was top three. So that right there is like instantly thinking about like the next question that she can ask. So I think that's a very good thing. And yeah, there's this one song. There's this one song that I've been meaning to put out like probably over a year ago. It goes like this: I want that Asian girl, yeah. 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 I like that girl, she's nice. I like that girl, she's smart. I like that girl, she's fun. I like that girl, she's chill. I want that Asian girl, yeah. It's supposed to go something like that. So I wish I had put that song out when I wanted to. That way you could see that it was like a long time in the making. And also, funnily enough, when I started my restaurant job, one of the first things I thought of, I'm getting exhausted. One of the first things I thought of was I should I really hope that there's like a cute Japanese girl that starts working there, and that's going to motivate me so much more to come to work and work at my best. Because what's it called? And also, one thing that occurred to me since I haven't worked on a team in a while is like the morale, like the way you act can really affect the team. Because like some people were getting upset, and I was saying to myself like, if you get upset at things, it's just going to make the job harder for everyone else. So, and then I was just talking to somebody at the homeless shelter who was about to leave. I saw him going in and out of the facility late, just like I was. And then he was talking about people stealing. And I was like, wait, people are stealing? And he said, yeah, that they better not be stealing, and I better not catch them stealing. And then he said all these, and then I was like, yeah, because a lot of these people don't have jobs. And then he was saying that, yeah, a lot of them don't have jobs and they just hang out in the day room. And then he was saying that a lot of them just hang out in the day room. And then I said, yeah, it's a stank ass day room too, right? And then he said, yeah. And then I told him, yeah, that's why I got an application for an apartment. And then he was like, me too. And then we went ahead and left. And then he was like, be easy, have a good one. He went outside to go ahead and smoke while I was leaving. So, yeah, pretty simple stuff. And I also got her number, but she did let me know she was gay. And then, wait, you know what's hilarious? She okay. So earlier, before she mentioned she was gay, um, I had her basically guess my age because I said she said her age. I said, aren't you 20? Well, I'm not gonna say her exact age, but I guessed close to her age. And then she told me, and then I was like, I'm 20. Wait, guess my age. And then she was like, you said you're 20. And then I said I could be in my 20s or 30s. So she guessed my age once. And then I pointed upward. And then she said 21. And then I said, no, it's higher than that. And then she said 25. And then guess what? When I said I was 25, you know what the first thing she said? She was like, is your frontal lobe developed? And I'm like, what the hell? The first question she asks is your frontal lobe developed? And I said, you know too much. Like, you know, like how you know about that thing about people saying that the brain is fully developed at 25. And she was like, technically no and stuff. And then she asked me, do you feel your frontal lobe developed? And I said no. And I said maybe because I'm on the spectrum. And then she said that's cool. And then she mentioned how she has a friend on the spectrum. It's just really crazy. But yeah, she's like really interested in technology and stuff like myself. And the funny thing is, I was there was like I was looking online somewhere, and I was thinking about putting in my bio that I was interested in technology or something like that, which was really coincidental that I'm talking about it. And she told me that and I was like, and then she ended up mentioning a company that I got my IT certificate through, and I was like, yeah, I know that company. That's how I got my certificate. And then I told her that I cheated on my exam, and then she told me that she took a certain exam for, I think it was tech support, and then she told me she cheated. So I was like, shh. So yeah, that's pretty much how that goes. Yeah, so the thing about it is like, as far as me getting laid, it's just, oh yeah, before, and she offered to carry my stuff out. What's it called? She offered to carry my stuff into this place when I was walking in. She was like, "Do you need help?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like super helpful. So, yeah. And then she was talking to somebody on the phone, and she was like, "Well, I hope you find something helpful," because she spent a lot of time looking through to help that person. So yeah, I think she called two people, and she told both of them like, "Hey, we're not this type of place. We're actually the place that packs and prepares whatever, whatever." So yeah, and then when I was in here, I was telling her, like, I was looking around, and I was like, well, first off, she was going to she was planning to save an image for like for my for my profile, and then she took a picture of me, and then I posed with peace fingers, and she was like so kawaii, and then I was looking around, I was saying, I hope to find my gym bay here, and then she was looking around, and she was like, there's not a lot of people here, I hope you can find your gym bay. So I also told her, what's it called, I told her that I'm not necessarily gay, just like kind of, and then she was like, most people are, because that was when we were outside. But okay, before we went outside, she was asking me like, "Are you?" And then I said, I went like that, and then I was like, "Yeah," and then I was like, did you already pick up on it? Is that why you asked? And then she was like, I usually get along with people who are like part of the community, so that makes sense. Yeah, and then when we were in the car, let's fast forward again, back where we left off. When we were in the car, like I said, I like trans women, and then she was like, so true. And then I also said, I like femboys, and then she was also like, so true. And then she asked me if it was due to anime. It was because of anime. And I would have to rethink on the details about that again, but it technically started from porn. My love for femboys, that pipeline began, the first dice, or that push down the hill of the tiny snowball, that started with me watching a ton of porn. That's what eventually developed into me liking femboys, and hentai. So yeah, and and then I was trying to figure out if she was like a basic fan, like if she liked my hero, or like when she said Attack on Titan, I was asking her like who's her favorite character. But yeah, and then she was talking about like certain movies and stuff, that certain like movies that were based on anime that she really liked, and she was talking about how good the animation and the music was. And then she asked me, have I seen Chainsaw Man? And I told her like I haven't watched it in a sequence, but I do like Kon, the one who summons the dog, the one who goes like that. So yeah, I wish I could recount everything, but this day was like really great. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video of me talking. But one thing I notice about like one thing I've like seen, what is it? What's a good way to put it? I guess my thoughts on like the idea of getting laid is that like there's a lot of there's a lot of energy around that topic. So like you hear songs all the time talking about that, like either, I don't know, it's like either the person is in love with the subject, they are trying to get the love of someone who's not interested in them, or they are no longer in love with that other person. It's one of those three things. That's the vast majority of songs, vast majority of pop songs, the most popular songs, many of whom have a strong female fan base. So these are feelings that a lot of women can relate to. And the thing is, growing up as an introvert. I made an active effort to talk to more people, but the thing is, like, I don't, I don't actually like. I still don't like big crowds, and with me having been like an introvert, like sort of like a more shy type of person, that's still the at the core of who I am. That's part of the reason I don't go to clubs, like nightclubs and stuff. People are going to say, "Oh, that's a good opportunity." And although I love good opportunities to talk to women and mingle and stuff like that, I think a club is like a place where you have to be very aggressive, and you even have to like bypass when a woman says no. So, and there's like a lot of guys that are like very, they're really ready to fight. And plus, when you have drinks flowing, a lot of women will be more ready than they would when they have their wits about them. And a lot of guys will fight faster than if they had their wits about them. But they'll also be more likely to approach. But they're waiting until they can get their hands on that liquid courage. Or that's a double-edged sword, because that could also be considered liquid stupidity. But yeah, and even though I made more of an effort, here comes some people right now. Like even though I've made more of an effort to be more social, what I've seen like going places here and there is that women tend to like always have their music in like their headphones in or something. Like they're just not it's just not really as apparent on ways to be more social. But and as far as the online thing, like I guess it's totally different. Like it's hard for a woman to like say, man, I would say that like trying to really get significant attention is not something that a woman would have to really work hard to obtain. Well, not necessarily, no, but for a guy, I guess they could probably tell me like, hey, you need to do this, this, and this. But I mean, you could really get useful tips from many different places. But also there's a disconnect with certain guys, which is guys who as long as they can remember, they've always been able to like consistently get some type of attention. Like they're just more funny, they're more extroverted, or more attractive, or funny, and I guess anything that relates to that. So that's like mainly what I'm getting after. That's like mainly what I'm getting after. So additionally, oh, this is blue now. So this has a good amount of charge in it. Additionally, what I've quantified is that like a lot of more attractive women, there was a time where I left a negative comment under a very attractive woman. I was the one negative comment, and then she blocked me. No, she responded to me negatively, right? Then she blocked me. Never saw what she said in response to me because I was blocked. And then you know what? She followed me later. Like, she can't stop thinking about me. She's my biggest fan. And she's on Xiaohongshu. She's on the Chinese app. That Chinese girl is my number one fan on that app, I promise you. And I did leave one agitative comment. Like, I think in order for me to find them attractive, they need to have curves, and Chinese women don't have that. Like that's not specifically what I said, but it was something agitative. And all the replies were a bunch of women. All the replies were a bunch of women. I think there was one guy, but that was my most engaged with post, and I had so many before that talking about a myriad of things, just mundane things I like, things that I enjoy. But then saying something, not only something I dislike, but also something involving people and involving women specifically, it'll like give rise to a certain type of reaction. Like that's the core fundamentals of like agitative, I guess, reactionary, or rather, I would say, contrarian type of personalities who use that for views. And that's kind of a villainous way to do it. But I mean, hey, I am a villain, so what can I say? And maybe this is divine. Maybe this is karma coming to me since I said I would not help a homeless person this whole thing. And basically, the reason I was kicked off of DoorDash is like because I was just already mentally checked out, and I was just like, I just didn't want to do it when I got an order coming like for such a long distance, several cities away. And the thing is, there wasn't even a tip on that order. That was the most notable part. And like I don't know, it was just like I was already mentally checked out for like a couple months. But it's funny how now I'm thinking about all the people that I knew and like the life that I had. But it's also funny how much good has happened, how much good people I ran into. And that's how and I told the that woman with the massive booty, the Venezuelan one, the one that I already spoke to and knew she was Venezuelan from the moment I saw her, is because I also told her there are so many Venezuelans who work as door dashers, and I met them over the many years that I've been doing this, that I was doing DoorDash until I stopped in 20 last year. And she was telling me that a lot of them do that. She was telling me that the reason that a lot of them, okay, I'm just going to wait till they're gone. She was telling me the reason that a lot of them do DoorDash is because they like the freedom. They don't like to have a boss. But yeah, that's kind of like interesting because I would also see, I don't know. I would just like some of them would have accounts on social media and they would post screenshots and stuff. And on their home screen, they would also be an Uber driver and they would also do a bunch of other side app gig work. So, yeah. And for the other one that was like, oh, you didn't think I was Venezuelan because I don't have a big booty or something like that in Spanish. I could have been like, I want to inspect closer because she's more of like the fun type. There was one time where music was playing and she was dancing. She was really throwing that thing back. And even one of the black aunties who's more serious, she was throwing it back too. I'm like, whoa, no comment. I was like, I had to go back and hide as the introvert that I am. I wanted to pretend like I didn't see none of that. I don't want to be the guy who sees that side of like women that I'm regularly around. But this is way better than being in a stank ass like shelter. Those guys on house arrest are fucked because they need permission to leave and like I don't know. I don't know. A lot of them just don't have jobs. A lot of them are just not like, I don't know. And I was telling the Asian girl about it too. That some people would leave or I would leave, and I made that same mistake too. I said exactly, some people will leave. No, I will leave. And then I'll come back and I'll see the same people, but then they'll have a black eye or something like that. So, and I noticed that this morning when I was getting ready, I came to this epiphany that it's really the black homeless people that'll mess with you inside the shelter. Like the white homeless people inside the homeless shelter, inside, you don't have to worry about any of them. You only have to worry about if you're black. I can tell you for a fact if you're black. The only ones inside that you have to worry about inside are the other black homeless people. And I don't know what it is about that. They're just more agitated. They're more about starting problems. And just like if there's a small issue, like the guy who was like cursing me out, calling me a bum, but he was behind the corner so I couldn't see him. And I never came behind the corner. He was trying to get a reaction out of me. Like the white homeless men don't act like that. And there's few Latinos, but there was one Latino who left his snow goggles upstairs, and then I walked out, looked both ways around the bathroom, and then went back to getting dressed. And I actually got dressed in under an hour. I think the key is that if I'm getting dressed and I walk out to the bench to sit down, I'll get dressed faster as opposed to staying back there by myself. So, and then when he came back up, I told him in Spanish, hey, I was looking for you. And then yeah, he was really happy. He gave me a fist bump. And then the funny thing is, I would notice that sometimes he would be saying to himself, estúpido pendejo, a lot of pendejo, a lot of pendejo. And he would be saying stuff like that. That was like weeks ago. He doesn't do it as much, but yeah, he's really cool. And then he was like, I need a roommate. And then I told him I already applied by myself. He said that in English. And also, I noticed a manager. There's a manager who plays Dungeons and Dragons, I think. Dungeons and Dragons. And he's like a fat white guy with like facial hair. He asked me many months ago, he was like, I'm looking for a place to stay. Do you want to split rent? And I already got it figured out. But also, I treat it like the drug campaigns in the 80s, and I just say no. And also, yesterday I found out that he wrote somebody up for calling in because 15 minutes after they were supposed to start their shift, they called 15 minutes after and said they were going to be late. And that same manager who looks like a comic book nerd, who looks just like the comic book nerd from The Simpsons, except he doesn't have a ponytail, he has short hair, and he has glasses, and he has pasty white skin. That manager wrote up that team member. And another manager who was there was like, this was his first time doing it, but I secretly know that it wasn't his first time doing it. He did it another time with another manager. That female manager just did not write him up because it's a restaurant job. Like, nobody takes it that serious. And I even said that out loud. I said to the other guy who's a manager yesterday, I was like, it's not even that serious. And then another female team member was also like just taken aback by that decision to write him up. Because that team member who got written up, the reason I was sticking up for him, mainly a really big reason, I even said, like, this team member is a really good worker. A big reason why I stuck up for him is because he actually drove me home to the shelter one time. And yeah, so that was really cool. And I told the manager that as well. This manager yesterday, he actually drove me home last night, or I guess this morning for the first time, because I asked him. I'm more of the shy type, where I'm not the type to ask for favors a lot. I guess maybe it's from childhood. Maybe it's just I would be made to feel a certain way if I asked for too much, like I was a burden or something. So yeah, everyone else, I would just be explaining how long the walk home was, and they would just I guess they would just turn around and offer to drive me to drive me there. So yeah, that was pretty much how it would go with everyone else. They would just offer to drive me. They would just ask me the question, hey, do you need a ride or something like that? And then the guy yesterday, he was like, sorry for being an asshole. You should have asked me earlier. So yeah, it's 9:17. They're about to close in 45 minutes. So I'm about to pack this up and wrap it up like a condom.